What's going on, everybody? I'm Coach Stefan from Fit Pro CEO Elite. If you guys want to introduce yourself, these are some of my clients. I'm their CSM, and give a little people a background on like what your business is, who you are, and then we'll kind of dive in and just for some context too, you guys are about 30 days into the program, and just want like a general overview of how it's been, and honestly, just have a conversation.
For sure. For sure.
My name is Jasmine, and I'm co-owner of Fit Mama.
Yeah, my name's Khalil. I am the CEO of Fit Mama, and we run this thing together. She was
Yeah.
my first client,
Yeah,
first mom client that is in our niche, and we kind of grew from there.
Yeah, yeah, husband and wife team, which is cool. And there's several of them in our group, which is awesome. And you
Yeah.
guys are kind of a power couple crushing it. So walk me through like where your business was, around 30 days ago. I mean, before you joined, how would you kind of categorize that or summarize that into a little paragraph?
For me, it was I think we had just done our first first or second week of trying out ads, and it was a complete disaster. We were trying,
we
we didn't know what was wrong. We didn't know what to fix. We didn't know what was working. We didn't know anything. We just put money in a ads account and tried to figure
Yeah.
it out.
What had you want to go do ads? Was it just like drying up your organic pipeline or?
We've been trying, I would say, probably for the last year and a half to try and find consistency with
with
lead
leads.
flow and new clients without having to run a promo. We would have little pops here and there with organic content, and it would be like, sometimes it pops off, sometimes
Something
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't.
But for us in running the business and our household, that just it got to a point where we were getting burnt out with that because it's like rent is always due.
Yeah, it felt like we were just leaving things to chance. And before we joined the program, like I was just talking to him. I've never felt so lost in the business.
Mm.
We were considering.
Yeah, it was our ever since we did made the switch to high ticket, this was our first year, 2025, of doing it without having a coach. We were in
Yeah,
multiple coaching programs before this.
yeah.
Yeah. How many were you guys in before this?
Uh, three.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
three.
I did like three or four before that too. So
Yeah.
kind of where
Yeah.
people are, they do three or four. So all of 2025, you did not have a coach. Is that correct?
No, that was the
No,
first year we were like, you know what? We're kind of burnt out on having coaches. We're kind of burnt out on having mentors. Let's see what we can do on our own.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it
Did,
went.
did it go well?
No, it went, there was no growth. I wouldn't say there was
Yeah.
a huge decline,
yeah,
but there was definitely no growth.
Yeah.
And we were kind of just trying to run the same plays that we had learned and running into the same dead ends that we had run
right.
into
Yeah.
before.
We were
Yeah. I
always
mean, go ahead.
we were always making the same problems over and over and over again. That's
Yeah.
why for the longest time, like I felt so lost within the business, considering I wanted to go. I'm like, maybe we should just go back to do a 9 to 5 because there's no way
Yeah.
that we're working this hard and we're like barely like making it through.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I mean, that's hard when you're like all in and you've invested, and it's kind of like I always look at it of like a fitness client, right? If they're kind of going on their own, they don't have a coach, they are kind of beating their head against the wall, staying in a plateau. It doesn't mean the effort's not there either, right? Like they'd be working their ass off. Okay. That's not the thing. But if we have knowledge or somebody's like, oh, you're doing this wrong, like we're just kind of running a little bit in circles. It sounds like that's kind of where you were. Now, before we hit record, I know you said like your highest month was like 70 something back in 23, right?
Yeah.
But that was off of like a promo or a Black Friday or
Big,
Yeah.
big promo, big scholarship promo for her birthday. It
yeah,
was 2024.
yeah. What were your like consistent months not promo?
Consistently, we were probably in that like, I would say like new cash coming in, maybe 20, 30, but like recurring, we were probably sitting around that like 30 to 35.
Okay. Okay. So new cash, new leads was kind of an issue with you.
Yeah.
What about just clarity on the business? I mean, I know that you kind of felt like you're beating your head against the wall, but I guess like from where you were when you first joined and now, like how has that developed and what's the experience been like so far?
So you want to,
Yeah, I feel like ever since we joined, like we talk about it a lot. I
yeah.
feel like there's so much value every call that we have from you, from Will, from the team members. It's just super insightful. We learn so much every call we have so far. And I just see now that there's a clear path on where we're trying to go. And it doesn't seem like a blur to me. And I feel like we just need to do what we need to do, and then we're gonna get to where we're trying to go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's kind of been every coach we've had up to this point was like, don't run ads, don't run ads, don't run ads. And then finally, here comes Real was like, it's the only way, like run ads. And we are like, finally, somebody says like run ads and how to run ads. And for me, it's like, I mean, I've always been like this, even since I was a player. It's like, if you're telling me one thing is wrong, and I'm kind of getting the feeling I'm seeing other people have success with it, like I'm gonna try it myself to figure
Yeah.
it out. And he's like, run ads, it's the only way. And then I come in, like we literally just got off a call with Angel, and he broke down all these pieces. And there was this one piece
He's
on
been looking
I've
for.
been looking for it for like the last 2 weeks, and I had this call book, and now I found it. Now it's like, okay, so now we unlock another piece, and
Right.
now
Yeah.
we get to see that kind of play out.
Like I
Yeah,
just
I mean,
big
it's ads and organic, right? Like they both matter. I know when I had a call with you, I was like, "Hey, you gotta kind of shift, go all in on a kind of a different niche." And I know that's been a game changer for you, right? It has nothing to do with ads, but
Yeah.
been a big change in your business. Do you mind walking me through that?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of helped us understand the role of organic. Um, I would say when we first came in, we were thinking like, okay, there's organic over here, and you do that, and that generates leads, and then there's ads, and they kind of work separately. But now we more see it as like organic is where she gets to show who she is, and somebody coming off of ads gets to be nurtured through who she is as her own personal brand, and that kind of helps both work together in tandem. So I feel like that was a huge shift for how we understand, I would say, marketing, advertising as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
right.
And niching down a little bit, right? Because you work with
Yeah,
moms, and then when I met with you, I'm like, well, you're Filipino. What about people working there? You're like, yeah, they're Filipino. And I'm like, dude, go all in, like all in. And
yeah,
then you did, and then you've noticed that big shift of like, okay, I can make better authentic content. Obviously, run probably better, more direct ads, speaking really to the avatar. And
yeah.
so that's cool. You watching you do that shift, and I know for you and a lot of the students, like it's more enjoyable. You're like, this is me, like because you're the face of the business. It's allowing you to kind of step into your own. Um, what do you think? Some like fears and hesitations you maybe had before joining? I mean, you took a whole year off, right? So you're kind of, I mean, obviously you got to the point where, like, all right, I need some help. But obviously, like, there's probably a little bit of, skepticism and like, do I want to make this big investment in working with a coach again? Like, we already took a year off. Like, walk me through that.
That's just you.
Yeah. No, I was because we've invested so much, like over $100,000 in
Hmm.
coaching, and I
Yeah,
felt like I never learned shit. I never learned anything, and it was just really hard. And I told him I do not want to get burnt this time around. Like I like, back against the wall, like this
Yeah.
needs to work. And I was scared, but I kept seeing Will's testimonies, Will's ad. I was like, there's no way that these people that we know are just crushing it. And like every person that we've seen, I'm like, these people and they're
they were in
crushing it.
other
They were in like the
Yeah.
same programs that we were on, and now with Will, they're seeing this much success. And I was like, I sent him an ad of Will's, and I was like, okay.
I'll tell you this. This is the only time that she's been okay with being closed in the DMs. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like I was already because I'm more on the risky side where it's like this is the investment that needs to be made. I understand I'm going to do the work. I'm going to get my money's worth. But for her, it's like, well, damn, we're spending more money again. I told her the price, and she was like,
I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's
because
do
she
it.
got
Yeah.
hit with ads way before I did. I
Yeah.
was very, very new to seeing his stuff, but she had been getting hit with ads for what, like weeks.
And I know.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I get it. I'll help
It's
join.
like I'm talking to him
Yeah.
right now. Like we got a call later on, but he's talking about raising the price. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you guys are in. And as you've seen, like, again, I know people from other mentorships too when I was a student, like at the beginning of 25. And, yeah, it was the same thing for me. And I think the cool thing is you see in the wins chat, like, it's absolutely insanity. It's not
Yeah.
just you guys, right?
Yeah.
I think some mentorships, especially some students that I work with, are like, I was the top dog in there, or there was a couple people that were crushing it, but everybody else, and I'm like, not an elite, man. Like it's just off the going off, just wins and wins and wins and wins and wins. Um, but beyond just revenue, I think we got to look at like what you're getting coached on, right? Because like, yes, Will is the ads guy for sure. Like we are really big on running ads, and so you can have more sustainable lead gen and a more predictable business. But I know there's also some other things that have to change in the business. Like we went over your setting and your messaging and how to have a hard conversation with your setters and setting standards. And you got to fire somebody like actually being a CEO and business owner.
Yeah.
How has like that been? Because I think some people might look at the outside and be like, oh, this guy just can help me with ads. Do you feel like this program is more than just that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say on the setter topic specifically, like we've hired and fired 16 setters up to this point, and every other coaching program we've been to, like we've just been sent a Word document, and it was like, go figure it out on your own, basically. And they're like, there's these places where you can go message and go figure it out. But with you guys, I mean, our setter right now came from you
Yep.
specifically. So yeah, so
She's solid. She is a solid one, and
yeah.
you didn't even charge us $3,000 to get that setter placed.
Yeah, to 4,000 and not have
Yeah.
anything, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's also the systems behind it. Like how do we train her up? How do we keep an eye on her, make sure that she's doing everything right? How do we pay her properly?
I know you gave us a lot of the framework with
Yeah.
talking to the people in the DMs, and it's
The whole
great.
system we run right now is from what you gave us before. And matter of fact, like when she came in, she was like, "Oh, this is exactly what
Yeah.
Stephen was doing." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, let's plug and
Yeah.
play."
Yeah, and I think too, like at least for me when I was a student, I think the things that I didn't like about the mentorships, which is why I want to be a CSM, is I feel like there was always one or two big pieces missing, and I didn't want to get another coach for that, right? Or like I
Yeah,
tried agencies, a ass load, okay, setter
Mhm.
agencies, content agencies, and I'm like, but they all are in different. It's like hiring a trainer and then a nutritionist over here, and then one person telling you, and I'm like, dude, I just need one thing where everybody's pretty much on the same page, right? With
yeah,
Right.
like how to do things and how to run things. And I think it all matters. And so a big thing for me working with students and for the program is like we want to have everything, right? That's why you have the sales calls with Pop, the ads calls, the leadership calls, obviously calls with me, the chats, like a one-stop shop. And honestly, even before I joined, like there was nothing like that. It was like, oh, we really heavily focus on sales and DMs or cold outreach or whatever. But then I felt like I had to create everything else in my business, like the SOPs, the how to hire people train. I mean, there were like kind of courses, but again, it was more like a document, go do it on your own. And I didn't have a CSM or anybody that I could jump on calls with. It was like, oh, we have our group calls with 100 people in there. And I didn't get in a question. And I'm like,
good
dude,
luck.
like for that much money, and which is why we kind of do the one-on-one more approach here. So I mean, I think that's been a big game changer. Uh,
Yeah.
what do you think? Like, I mean, I know you're 30 days in, and you said that we got 10 days left in, well, 11 days, I guess, in January. What are you guys at right now for the month?
Right now we're about 40, 46, 47.
Okay. Is that off ads?
That is off ads, yeah.
Yeah. Which is good because like before it was a flop. And I know you said you had a pretty big week the other week. What was that?
That week we finished the week with 37.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a huge
It
week.
was
So
really, it was really
and
good.
like you're just getting started, like getting ads like dialed. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not this necessarily for everybody. It's hey, I launch and first day one, it's gonna crank it, but you
No.
can see the return. Like, okay, we're getting leads. We're getting. Do you feel like with the change of the messaging and the ads, they're like the people you want to work with too? I'm guessing you
Yeah,
closed
I mean,
Yeah.
37K. So
yeah, I mean, even with that 37K, like I, what, five of those closes were paid in full, no financing, like didn't
Right.
even bat an
They didn't
eye.
even
So
flinch. They're like, okay, this is the program for me. So it was the right people that we've
yeah.
been wanting this whole time.
And granted, like people that were not necessarily following her for years,
No.
which is also first for us. So like a couple of them were like, "Yeah, we just saw you last week,
yeah.
and now we're
Yeah,
in."
I mean, I try to tell people too, like for my business, for those of you listening, like I'm all ads. I have just hit 10K followers, right? I've been doing this for 5 years. I don't have a big organic. And so a lot of my leads that I've had to close literally are just saw me, and I used to do like same day closes, paid in fulls that day. They didn't even know me for 24 hours. How do you do that, right? You have to build that know, like, trust really quick, which is I went over like the pre-call and setting this, and that's why,
Yeah.
right? It's all top to bottom. Every little piece matters, especially colder traffic. Um, and hats off to you guys too, because you've been busting your ass and putting in the work and going on the calls and every action step I give you, you're dialed in. So, you have put in the work and you're getting the results, right? So I'm super excited to see kind of like how you close out January for sure, but also just I know it feels like you can breathe when you have a predictable system, right? Because any business, really, especially online fitness coaching, usually it's lead gen, right? Now there might be some other things, some sales and management and stuff like that, but having like a consistent lead flow is nice that you don't really have to like, what I mean, do these scholarships and promotions, and you can still do them, right? It's just an extra thing, but you can kind of rely on more of a system. And that's why I like ads, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
like, I hope that piece of content goes viral. Can we fast forward to my birthday? Like, you don't have to wait. You can have
Right,
little
that was
things.
us
That was
for
us every
years.
every 6 months because our her birthday and our
Our
when we launched our business were
anniversary,
6 months
yes.
apart. So it's like you come
Yeah.
in for this 6 months and the next 6 months we have the next one.
Okay.
That's kind of the way it went.
So it sounds like a lot of things have got better, right? Avatar has gotten more clear. I know you had some hard leadership calls, had to let somebody go that, lay some standards. So leadership's gotten a little better. Obviously, messaging, procedures, sequences, revenue, specifically on ads, like crushing it last couple weeks. What are some like you know, uh, non-revenue driving like things that you've seen increase as far as like beyond just the numbers?
I think emotional regulation, that is like one huge thing. I'm like, I never would have thought that this thing would tackle a lot of a mindset piece that I never knew I needed as I step into this woman that I'm trying to be like more of a leader, more of a business owner. And
Mm.
tackling that in the calls was like super important thing. Like I feel like I never knew I needed that.
I would say for her from the outside, like her stepping into being a coach was a big deal. I
Yeah.
think on our first call, when you looked at her page, you were like, this to me is screaming like content creator, influencer,
Yeah.
which is what she has been up to this
For
point.
like 10 years.
And I've always been having this conversation of like, let's go all in on coaching, let's go all in on coaching. And now she finally did it. And
Yeah.
now her page looks totally, totally, totally
Different.
different.
From when we talk, I took your advice. You put
Yeah.
the clients on the highlights and then the pinned post.
Yeah.
It all changed. You can check
Yeah.
that out now.
Right. And you got to think, how do we know that it works? Well, somebody comes cold, they don't know you. Immediately they're like, yes, paid you
Yep.
5K. Right. So
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
before, yeah, and I think see this all the time. Students have, come in, big following, beautiful page, super aesthetic, got a lot of followers, but it doesn't necessarily convert. And some people are like, I'm crushing it with organic. But then the lead flow dries up and they do ads, and I'm like, it doesn't work the same. So, having somebody kind of that can see outside perspective. We're our own worst enemies sometimes with our content, and we get comfortable, right? Like, hey, this has worked. This is bringing me clients. I like these posts. And so I think, yeah, it all matters, right? Every little piece, which is why, I in the group, I think, want to make sure that we're looking at everything. I mean, everything does matter. Now, there's certain things that obviously push the needle forward more, right? Having good messaging, booking calls, having a good sequence, like getting on the calls. And like you said, almost every student has invested probably six figures in coaching before they join Elite. Like most of them, have invested a high six figures. So, for me, it was the same thing, like not really having these predictable sources of lead flows for sure. And, I had a business that was doing well, but I also felt like same thing with me. I was not emotionally regulated. Like I had ups and downs and I would like be good. I had a curse where like all of our revenue was collected like the last 10 days of each month. So it was just doomed for me to be like nervous, nervous. Okay, we're good. And so, yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think that's actually one of the biggest downfalls of CEOs, right? And online coaching businesses that I've seen. And that we all have to deal with it is like not being like, oh crap, and freaking out. And, Will talks a lot about it, like, but kind of one of the only ways to make sure we're more emotionally regulated is buying into the plan, seeing the vision, and obviously doing things to have some revenue to breathe and be like, okay, I can buy into this. Like this is working. We're going in the right direction, which makes, you be able to just step back, breathe, especially as like busy parents with young kids, me too. It's like you want to make sure that you're going to have a business that's going to be there in 2 years, 3 years. right? You're
Yeah.
not going all in on something that's just going to like burn up in flames and go,
Right.
Right.
right?
100%.
So what's just to leave on this, like, obviously I think a lot of people know each other in the industry and stuff, but what would you guys say to somebody that maybe is on the fence or in maybe a position as you? Maybe they have a coaching business, but maybe took some time off because they didn't want to make a bad investment and get burned. Like, what would you tell them to do for this program?
I would tell them you're probably scared shitless and you feel like your business is failing and that there's no hope that you want to go back to a 9 to 5 job, but there is hope. And I feel like this program has helped us so much. Like, and we're just getting started. That's why I'm so excited. We're just
Yeah.
getting started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say a big thing is kind of how you look at it with your clients. Like for us, if we expect our clients to invest in us, then you kind of have to view this the same way. And I've always kind of viewed that with coaching. I would say with this one in particular, just know more than anything that I've experienced is there is a team. There's
Hmm.
not just one guy and like his flunkies. Like there's actual a team of people who are experts in their own areas, and they all kind of carry the same respect and the same stick with them. And I think that's big.
Everybody in here knows their shit.
Yeah,
And they literally, like you said, everybody pretty much like, stands their ground. Like everybody is like a pro in in their own division.
yeah,
And also one of the biggest thing is that this is the first group that I've experienced, and they're not stingy with
No.
their information and
yeah,
with their shit. I feel like as valuable as the coaches and everyone else, like the community in there is
Yeah.
great.
definitely a lot of sharing
Hmm.
of yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be my next thing is like, we have some students obviously that are just doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. They're like, yeah, here's what I do. Like there's no pride, there's no ego, really truly there isn't. And that is definitely a different. I've been in one where, the top G wasn't talking or didn't want to share their secrets and
Yeah,
I just think like yeah, this is an elite group of coaches, and we understand that even the same niches, it's like so many people that need help. There's a lot of fish in the sea. It's an abundance mindset, right? Making sure that we just want you guys to win. And last thing, because I think this is important. My last mentorship I was in, I think dropped the ball on this, and I was very open to Will. When we first joined, but like, how's just like the customer service been? Just communication, getting a hold of your coaches, like getting good answers. Like, how's that been in the program? Because I know for me, I felt like I got like very surface level, go watch the course answers, which I'm like, can you just tell me what to do?
yeah, I know. I know. In our first mentorship, that was like a huge deal, and we literally were getting like a link to go watch the video that is in the module, and it's like, dude, I already watched those videos already. I have a question on that. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I need the answer to that. So that to me has been great. I mean, it's usually within same day. It's usually voice notes back and forth to come to an actual solution versus some surface level thing where I just end up right back to Chat GPT or whatever else I'm trying to find research on.
Yeah, I feel like you and Will are very, very active. Like I didn't expect that kind of communication, but
Yeah,
it's like very hands-on with everything. And so is everybody else in the group.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate the feedback. Yeah. I mean, I know how it is, being a student. I'm still running my business, right? So I'm still in the group as a student too, in a way, right? And I want to be, give you guys a good service. And I know how it is being in groups where you don't, you wait a day or two on answers, or you're getting, like I said, I think it's a surface level things too. Like I think at this level for this investment, not that you shouldn't watch a course. We do have a course, we have that, but like kind of just clients like, dude, just tell me what to go eat kind of thing, right? And so we're at the spot where I want to make sure that we're giving you very directive things like our action steps after, like, hey, go do these things, work on these things. And that way, I mean, you're beyond the courses at this point, right? Those are like the first couple of masterminds. It's just being able to sit there and give you guys directives and having an outside perspective of, hey, this is what's working, what's not working. And you mentioned a good thing, we all have our areas of expertise for sure. And I think like we know that like Angel and Jeff like are the ads people. Not that I can't look at your ads, but like that's what they do, right? And so being able to have certain people in certain specific things is the best way to operate, right? Think of an assembly line. One guy does one thing really well, and so it works well. right? And so I think like, yeah, we have to be jack of all trades at some capacity. But yeah, having people that are ultra specific, like you said, he went in there and was like, oh, you're missing this one thing, right? You know, so that's super helpful. Well, thank you guys for jumping on and giving some feedback. I mean, honestly, I'm really proud of like the effort you've been putting in. Not that I expected anything less, but you've been crushing it, and I see the shift. Like I see the emotional energy shift from day one to now. And Jasmine, I see you kind of stepping into your own and getting more excited about the business, and that's the best way, right? Because being able to wake up and be super passionate about what you do and be a little bit on fire, like have a fire under your ass, not from a scarcity, but from
Yeah.
like, let's go is the best feeling, right? It is way better than what 2024 was or most of 2025. Um, but yeah, being able to have a coach that can guide you, direct you is super powerful. So I appreciate your feedback. And I'm excited to do like our follow-up interview in a couple months and see you
I
guys hit the
know.
100K
Me
months
too.
and
Me too.
start
Me
crushing
too.
it.
100K month. I'm like, that is the vision. 100K month and
It's,
surpassing
it's
that.
realistic. It's very realistic.
Yeah, I've never,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you still got 11 days left. You did a $37,000 week. Like,
Yeah,
you're just getting ads going. You have the whole year. Like, it's gonna happen.
yeah,
100%.
I'm
Cool.
excited.
Cool. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Of
Awesome.
course.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye, Stefan.
See ya.
Peace.